Matt, we just saw each other at KubeCon. I've been covering Fermyon for a long time. So this acquisition is really important, not just for these two companies, but the larger ecosystem as well. Before we get started, just for the sake of our viewers, Matt, quickly remind them what is Fermyon, your entire history with WebAssembly, Helm. We talked about Helm 4 also at KubeCon, and then we'll see how it fits into Akamai, and then we'll talk to Ari. So let's hear from you, Matt, quickly.
Yeah, I can start with Helm since that's the oldest. My part in the Kubernetes ecosystem was as one of the original creator of Helm, the package manager for Kubernetes. And my career has been very steeped in cloud technologies. I worked on OpenStack long ago, got really interested in Docker when it emerged, then was very, very early in Kubernetes, started working on that very early, and of course went on to create Helm. And the cloud native ecosystem has been so great, right, in transforming the way we looked at different kinds of workloads. But one of the pieces that a group of us felt was missing was a really good compute platform to be able to run serverless style workloads. Now, serverless style workload is one where there is no server running all the time, right? A request comes in, a process starts up, handles that request, returns a response, and shuts back down again. And Docker is a great platform for running long-running daemon-style processes like databases and API servers. But we felt like the kind of serverless workloads that had emerged originally through Amazon Lambda and then started to pick up more momentum on the edge with things like Akamai Edge Workers, those style of workloads really needed a specialized compute layer. And so 10 of us who had worked together at Microsoft all left on the same day about 4.5 years ago to start Fermyon with this idea of building the next wave of serverless computing, or the next kind of cloud compute engine. So for 4 years, we started with an open source developer tool called Spin that's now part of CNCF alongside Kubernetes. After that, we started building a Kubernetes runtime called SpinCube. And then we realized that really the true power in this style of workload would emerge only if we could get the workload close to end users. In other words, it's really cool to be able to run a serverless function and cold start in under half a millisecond. But if we can't get to that point on the network where we would be able to reach users quickly, then it doesn't matter how fast we can run, right? If you get 300 milliseconds of network delay, a half a millisecond of cold start time doesn't raise anybody's eyebrows. And that's what led us into this partnership about a year and some ago with Akamai to build Fermyon WASM functions. And I think that's probably a good place to start this story. We created Fermyon WASM functions, a platform that can run all along Akamai's network. We like to say it's the fastest serverless runtime running on the world's most distributed platform.
Excellent. Thank you for that journey. Now, Ari, we can talk about technologies whole day, but the whole idea of these technologies to actually help customers, can you talk about, from Akamai's customers' perspective, what gaps were enterprises running into that made Fermyon's WebAssembly, your partnership, fast, the right solution, which eventually led to this acquisition? How is it going to actually make developers feel with this acquisition part of Akamai?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, for us, as we've been engaging with our customers across a number of different verticals, but certainly when we look at commerce, manufacturing, travel, and a lot of our publishing customers, there's this pronounced need to perform edge computing. And there has been for years. Akamai has been evolving how we do that to meet the needs of our customers. We used to do it with things like Edge Java. We developed a metadata language. We started to push out, an XML-like ability to configure the network to do what you needed to. And eventually we created specific products, cloudlets, and then a serverless framework or a platform that we called Edge Workers. And we had the ability to do lightweight serverless functions for our customers, increasingly for the way that they were developing their web applications, which was a lot of front-end code and things that we could manage with state light or stateless serverless functions. What we found was, though, developers use a number of different languages. Languages evolve very quickly. We need something where they can code in the language of their choice and then consider not just having really ephemeral or lightweight processing abilities, but increasingly have edge distributed applications. And that application need really required us to find somebody like a Fermyon that we could partner with, because as Matt said, Akamai is all about distribution and low latency. We needed to find a partner as well that could create an environment that would allow for a stateful application that could be developed easily, would start up instantly, and that could be a fast runtime environment for them, regardless of how they decided to write their code. And so it was sort of a match made in heaven, so to speak. When we found the Fermyon team, our team started to get excited as well about Spin and that framework, the engagement with a larger community and what that could mean for us to actually start to develop a way that people could consider this architecture going forward. And then as we brought, Matt and the team to a lot of Akamai's customers together, we found that, they were having a similar reaction. They had the same beliefs. And the biggest thing that was going to hold us back in realizing some of the potential that we saw was the fact that we weren't one company. And that's why it just seemed like such a natural thing that we integrate into the platform first to really prove the value to our customers, but then find that there was a pronounced need to have this as part of the platform and integrated together with that continuum of compute that we have now with full infrastructure leading to edge computing and now stateful distributed applications with the Fermyon team. So it really was a great journey, but the customers led us through it.